So Aaron, we talked about multinational, or Frisco was talking a bit about multinational projects, and you've been involved with multinational projects as well. What do you think some of the keys are to multinational transformations, and how is that different from if we're managing, just a domestic or a single location sort of transformation?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Aaron Patterson. I'm the Executive Vice President for EMEA for Third Stage Consulting. My background has been in consulting and system integration and kind of working at a number of different companies over the years, from private equity back to startups to multinationals. And so a lot of experience working in this space. And so one of the things I think is clear is there's definitely a lot of consistency between a local one country kind of deployment and a multinational. So things like Greg said around clear vision and strategy, real need strong leadership and governance, that counts for every single kind of implementation or digital transformation that you'd be doing. I think the other key thing is obviously, which has already been talked about as well, is the cultural sense of sensitivity and inclusion. As you said earlier, deployments in Sydney are going to be different to Shanghai. That's absolutely true. And if you are deploying across 50 or 60 countries, and even some regional differences within those countries as well, it's incredibly important to have some local advocates and some local change agents to be able to help you with that. And then because you are dealing with a multinational situation, effective communication is really key. And being consistent and transparent in that communication, making sure that it's both relevant for the program as a whole and for the local markets as they're doing their individual work for deployment or managing change or some of the technical implementations. I think that's probably a key thing as well. And then finally, I think probably one of the things just to touch on as well, especially today, is really around security and compliance, and just taking a mindful approach and a very structured approach to what laws and compliance you have to actually deal with in the various different countries, because that can be very different. In the US, we may have very little kind of government regulation for certain industries, and that definitely isn't the case, especially when it comes to digital data, making sure who owns it, who's got access to it, different things like that. That's different on a region and country by country basis, and taking that into account is oftentimes something that gets missed if the team is kind of doing their first international project.